When ex-girlfriends go wrong. Number 4. A former MMA fighter is accused of stabbing his ex-girlfriend 17 times and then stuffing her body in his closet after an argument outside the woman's Tennessee home. According to ShareDog, Dwayne has 2 professional MMA outings under his belt, both of which ended in losses. Fighting out of Nashville, he last fought in 2018, suffering a first-round submission loss to Keegan Agnew. While he never made it to the UFC, Dwayne Harrell notched a 2-0 amateur record, even scoring a first-round stoppage win over Kenny Vaughan before going pro. Dwayne's ex-girlfriend Irene Torres was found dead in his closet on Sunday, January 29th, by Nashville police. Dwayne and Torres worked at the same bar on Broadway. The pair had been in an argument the day before, according to investigators, and Dwayne had waited for Torres to return home from her shift at the bar where they worked together. After sinking his blade into her 17 times, Dwayne allegedly stuffed Torres' body into the trunk of his car and drove to his apartment in Belleville, where he forced her corpse into a storage bin before hiding it in his closet. He later disposed of Torres' blood-soaked clothes and purse in a nearby dumpster behind a grocery store. Police said Torres' parents reviewed the surveillance footage outside their home after they realized their daughter never came home, and reportedly saw Harrell dragging her out of the camera frame. Torres' father confronted his daughter's ex, who initially told him that she was at a hotel before allegedly confessing to the murder and telling him that her body was in his closet. Torres had broken up with Harrell a month before she was killed, according to her sister, who said the relationship was abusive both physically and emotionally. While most 20-year-olds are planning their careers and futures and are optimistic about the world, Irene spent some of the last months of her young life abused, degraded, terrorized, and fearful. Douglas wrote, Irene showed immense bravery in leaving her abusive relationship and was so happy to start her new life with the support of her family, only to be hunted down in her front yard and brutally murdered 1 month later. In a packed Tennessee courtroom on February 15th, Metro Nashville Police Department Detective Derry Baltimore showed home surveillance footage of the attack to the judge and defense. Several attendees of the hearing were co-workers of both the suspect and victim, and some could not hold back tears as they listened to Baltimore's description of the stabbing. Currently being held without bond, Dwayne Harrell showed little emotion during the preliminary hearing on February 15th. The case was bound over to the grand jury. Rest in peace to Irene Torres, and I hope he gets what he deserves. If you like the content, please subscribe and support the channel, since 93% that watch the videos are not subscribed. Thank you. Number 3. 31-year-old Eric Duncan of Jefferson, West Virginia is accused of stabbing his ex-girlfriend with a screwdriver during an argument about his belongings at around 6:45 p.m. on the 11th of February. Authorities responded to the 200 block of 1st Street Southeast in Jefferson on a report of a domestic disturbance. Deputies were told a male suspect had been in a verbal argument with his ex-girlfriend and was being destructive to a vehicle, and had left the scene walking away as a responding deputy arrived in the area. He located the male suspect walking on Green Valley Drive nearby. During the investigation, deputies learned that Duncan went to his ex-girlfriend's home to gather his personal belongings, and she allegedly didn't have them, and the two got into an argument. A dispute reportedly escalated, and Duncan taunted the victim by making quick flinching movements, as if he was going to assault her. According to the victim, he eventually followed through with his threats and slapped her in the face before walking away. He then returned to his ex-girlfriend's home and asked her for his belongings again, before stabbing her with a screwdriver. The victim suffered a laceration to a leg that didn't require medical treatment, and she was seen limping as she walked. Another witness at the scene reportedly confirmed the victim's statements, and Duncan was arrested on account of domestic battery with a weapon. He was held at the South Central Regional Jail on a $1,000 cash bond. Number 2. A 29-year-old Colorado man may spend the rest of his life behind bars for killing his ex-girlfriend, stuffing her body in a plastic storage container, and dumping the remains at an abandoned rest stop. On the 3rd of August 2022, 29-year-old Andrew Joseph Condon was found guilty of the 2018 murder of his 23-year-old girlfriend Labria. Jackson stuffed her body into a plastic storage container and dumped her remains at an abandoned truck stop in southern Colorado. She was a mother of 2 sons. This was a horrific act of domestic violence that robbed 2 children of their mother parents of their daughter, and a community of a beloved member. Chief Deputy District Attorney Andrew Steers said in a statement, "This verdict is the first step towards justice." According to a press release from the District Attorney's office, someone texted Jason's mother on December 23, 2018, saying that she was on her way to pick up Condon, her boyfriend at the time, and the couple would be arriving at her parents' home in Westcliff later that evening. But the couple never arrived in Westcliff. Approximately 2 weeks later, Jackson's body was discovered stuffed in a storage container at an abandoned truck stop near exit 34 of the I-25 in Las Animas County, approximately 3 hours south of Denver. She had been strangled to death. December 23, 2018. Jackson's phone is used to send her mother a text message. This is the last correspondence her mother reports receiving from her daughter's phone. December 24, 2018. After Jackson failed to show up at her parents' home, her mother called the apartment complex to check on her daughter. A property manager opened the apartment and found there weren't a lot of personal items inside. On this day, Condon was stopped by Texas state troopers while driving Jackson's car, and he was issued a citation for drug paraphernalia. Later that day, Condon was stopped by the Alvarado Police Department in Texas. Condon provided officers with a stolen Colorado ID, and he was taken into custody on multiple felony warrants out of Colorado, unrelated to Jackson's murder. At the time Condon was arrested, officers found Jackson's cell phone on him. Her debit card was also being used in Texas, despite her mother not hearing from her. December 26, 2018. Jackson's mother calls the Aurora Police Department to officially report her daughter missing. January 6, 2018. Around 3:30 p.m., a man pulled into the abandoned truck stop on I-25 and noticed a red plastic storage container with a human body inside. The man immediately called police, and the Las Animas County coroner positively identified the body as Jackson's. In addition to the murder charge, Condon was also convicted on 1 count each of tampering with the deceased body, motor vehicle theft, burglary, assault and strangulation, felony menacing, and a violent crime resulting in death sentence enhancer. Rest in peace to Labria Jackson. Number 1. A man shot his ex-girlfriend 15 times because she hadn't answered his phone calls or text messages. Carlos Limon Jones, 23, told officers that he woke up on the morning of December 20th in an angry state because his ex-girlfriend hadn't answered his calls or texts. He drove to her house in Melbourne, where she was living with her father, just after 7:30 a.m. because he knew that she had to be at work at 8 a.m. He told detectives that he pulled into the driveway and confronted his ex-girlfriend, Shadila Johnson, as she was walking out the front door. He exchanged a few words with her before she turned away and started walking back towards the house. Jones then pulled out a handgun and shot her in the back 15 times, according to the police department. Johnson's father told police his daughter was headed to work on Tuesday, December 20th at around 7:46 a.m. Once she left their home on Colbert Circle, he heard a series of gunshots, causing him to look out the window. That's when he saw Jones peering from behind Johnson's car. Her father said he went outside to investigate and saw her daughter lying face down on the ground, surrounded by a pool of her blood in front of her car. Police were called and paramedics rushed Johnson to Holmes Regional Medical Center, where she died from her injuries. He also told detectives that Jones and his daughter had been dating for the past 5 months and previously lived together but had broken up 2 weeks prior. He said Jones had been continuously calling and harassing Johnson in an effort to get back together with her. After the shooting, Jones dumped the clothing he was wearing and a box of ammunition in a dumpster at his apartment complex, threw a pistol magazine out the window of his car as he drove down the interstate, and discarded a semi-automatic pistol in a storm drain in Rockledge, about 20 miles north of Melbourne. Melbourne is about 70 miles southeast of Orlando. A few hours later, Jones turned himself into the police after receiving a call from his mother, pleading with him to surrender. In his interview with police, Jones said if he had the chance to do it again, he would have killed Johnson and her father. He also told police the location of his gun and other evidence he threw out. Police said Jones was arrested and charged with first-degree premeditated murder with a firearm and use of a firearm in the commission of a felony. He is being held without bond. Rest in peace, Shadila Johnson. Please stay safe out there. If you like the video, please make sure you like and support the channel by subscribing and turn on the notification bell so you stay tuned whenever I upload. Thank you.